Hey guys, okay, Dwayne here with the second thread answer of today. So I'm going to be answering Tony, MrFartboy's thread to show and talk about an album that was a life-changing album for me, or an album that changed my life. And I was originally going to go, I'll be honest, with Iron Maiden's Number the Beast. You know, and I could go on for probably about 40 minutes about that album and why and the effects and yada yada. But I figured that'd be a little too obvious for me. So I wanted to think a little deeper than that, okay? And so I chose an album that definitely had such an impact on me. Not initially, but it did during a certain time of my life. And it was a dark time of my life, and it was my wife and we were high school sweethearts. We got married when we were 18 years old. Okay, I'm now 42, so you know we've been married 24 years now. So in 1997, okay, so this was years ago. In 1997. My daughter, who at the time was 6 years old, you know, still just a little tyke, my wife and I had actually split up for about 6 months. And it was a really hard time, and you know, there were reasons as to why, and you know, it was just a very sad and kind of dark time. And so, of course, I mean, when we split up, I got my own apartment. I had a couple of roommates, and my wife and daughter got their own apartment. And it was a kind of a very dark time for me because, you know, like I said, we've been together since high school, so I hadn't really been alone since, you know, high school. So not to mention, you know, always being a family guy, you know, I had my daughter who was 6 years old, and now all of a sudden I had neither one. It was, you know, it was a mutual thing, let me put it that way. It was a mutual thing. It was neither person had like a fault or a reason. And in a way, it was actually the best thing that could have ever happened to me and my wife and to our relationship. Because the beauty of it was we learned during that 6 month time that we had made a mistake. So anyway, long story short, this is a band I had been into for years already at this point, as well as this album, but not so much this album until this time. And there's a specific track on this album too, but the whole album as a whole had this effect on me, but this one track especially is what dialed it in and made it happen. Okay? And so, you know, here I am, I'm living alone, and you know, I'm missing my daughter just so incredibly. I'm definitely missing my wife, you know, and I was playing this album here, and this is Marillion's Clutching at Straws, okay, and I've talked about Marillion before, and, you know, I'll say it again, if you're a Genesis fan, you've got to listen to Marillion, especially with Fish. But anyway, this album came out in 1986, and one night, you know, I was really feeling alone, and I was really missing them, and, you know, I was really kind of at a point during this time where I was really starting to blame everybody else. I was blaming my wife, I was blaming my friends, I was blaming everybody else for this happening and this separation to occur. And what I wasn't doing was taking any responsibility for it for myself. And there's a track on here called Sugar Mice. okay? And the track Sugar Mice, it's a slower track, and the song is about a man sitting in a bar, basically drinking away his woes on how he misses his girlfriend or his wife or whatever, and his kids, and him starting to realize and say and taking the blame for himself, and coming to the realization that you can blame me for doing this, and just how lonely he is and whatnot. And it's such a meaningful song, and I know some people have talked before. I know Derek has mentioned that when it comes to music, for him, songs are about the music first, and whatnot, and that's very true in a lot of ways. But what I want to say here is that this is a very specific and perfect example of the power of song, okay? Not just the music, but also the lyrical content, okay? The vocals, the whole package of the song. When I listened to this, and I listened to this deeply during this time, what this album did was it made me realize I'm to blame here just as much as everybody else, and finding those deep feelings in myself made me take action, okay, instead of just living depressed, letting everything go, being mad at the world, being mad at everybody around me, blaming everybody else. That was getting me nowhere. This album started me to turn that around, to change it, to take the responsibility for it, take the blame for it, take action on it, and go, no, this is wrong, this is not what it's supposed to be. And lo and behold, in doing so, my wife and I did get back together, and we've been happily ever after ever since, okay? So this album, and specifically that song, okay, but this album as a whole, I guess you could say really impacted my life, and that's why. So hope that's not getting too deep for you guys, but I wanted to speak from the heart, and I wanted to be very honest with this answer, because it's a pretty deep question, really. So yeah, Clutching at Straws, Marillion, 1986, phenomenal album. So, and that track again is Sugar Mice. Look it up on YouTube. They had a video for it, which pretty much goes right along with the song, right along with the lyrics, and explains it. Great thread, Tony. Excellent question. And I hope this is kind of what you were looking for. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. So till next time, stay in the groove. I love y'all. Peace.